In India, food has become political. Being vegetarian is closely associated with being a Hindu, and now it's also deeply tied to nationalism. It's come to be known as vegetarian nationalism. As part of it, right-wing Hindu groups routinely force the closure of butcher shops, for instance, during festivals for Hindus, when worshippers abstain from eating meat. With Muslims heavily engaged in the meat trade, the message is clear. The minority community work at the pleasure of the majority.
These men are a self-appointed group of vigilantes. Leader Deepak Arya directs their searches of trucks at this toll gate. They're looking for cows. Cows are sacred to Hindus, but not to Muslims.
Muslims are the ones who kill and eat our cows and hurt the sentiments of Hindus. To stop cow slaughter, we are ready to give our lives and also take the lives of these people. We will not stop in this mission.
A result, cows. The two drivers clearly terrified. One is hit with a glass bottle. They say they are taking them to a dairy farm, not for slaughter. Eventually, the vigilantes hand the drivers to the police. Officers have been parked nearby for much of the time. Experts see such so-called cow vigilantes as part of a wider campaign against India's Muslim minority. Ghazala Wahab writes about security and Islam.
I think the larger message is very clear that a category has been created of those who have the first right to the nation and those who are the second-class citizens. The government found a lucrative way of othering the minority communities, creating some sort of a hate campaign against them.
Muhammad Idris is a butcher in the northern state of Haryana. This was 2 weeks ago, during the 9-day Hindu festival of Navratri. State authorities force butcher shops to close during the sacred Hindu festivals. His freezer cannot keep meat good for long enough. It's all rotten. He won't be able to sell it. His family depends on the shop. But this month, he's likely to earn half of the 120 euros he usually earns.
I've closed my shop for fear of the mob. I've heard they come with sticks and beat butchers and the like. Even if we report such things to the police, we know there will be no help from them.
All the butchers in this market are in the same situation, limited in their business and terrified that the vigilantes might one day come for them.
For more context, I'm joined now from Delhi by peace activist and author Harsh Mandar. He's also chairperson of the Centre for Equity Studies in India. Mr. Mandar, the term vegetarian nationalism in India has sort of come to define right-wing Hindu groups dictating food choices for the rest of the population. What do they want to achieve with their actions?
I think what they want to achieve is two things. One is a certain, homogenization of Hindu religious and cultural practices, which is a false homogenization, because a large number of Hindus actually are not vegetarian. And also people of disadvantaged castes and the indigenous people tend to eat meat in much larger numbers. But the other side, and I think the more important part of this campaign, is to other the Muslim. It's a weaponization of the alleged vegetarian cultural practices of Hindus, which are violated and disrespected allegedly by Muslims. So, so it is really attempting to demonize. It's one more instrument to demonize Muslims in India.
And how much of this is aided, perhaps, by official sanction?
I think it is entirely aided by official sanction because, you see, the symbol of one of the most powerful symbols of Hindu nationalism today is the cow. And it is professed that the cow is sacred to Hindus, and it is Muslims who are out to slaughter cows and eat and sell their meat. So we are seeing in state after state, which is ruled by the BJP, the ruling party, they are passing laws that actually have very stringent punishments for killing cows up to 10 years. And cow, in some states, they've even created special wings of the police for cow protection. But I think most importantly, civilian vigilante groups, which are very aggressive, and sort of part of the sort of lumpen Hindu nationalist kind of formations, work closely and openly with the police in searching vehicles in case cows are being taken, in attacking people in the name of traveling with cow meat. A huge amount of the lynching, actually the single biggest cause of lynching since 2017, which has grown like an epidemic, has been allegations of cow slaughter.
Right. And we did have a report in which we actually see how these cow protection squads, as they like to call themselves, work. But through all of this, Mr. Mandar, where are the opposition parties? Where is the opposition to these actions?
What has happened is that I think that the so-called secular political parties are more and more hesitant to raise questions which they believe in defense of Muslims when they're being attacked and in opposition to hate speech, but also in opposition to vigilante action around the cow. The assumption behind this, I think, is a flawed one, which is the assumption that all Hindus have got radicalized, or the majority of them, and you would lose electoral support if you raised questions in defense of the Muslim minority or in opposition to alleged Hindu religious practices. Even if that was the case, it was important for them to stand up and be counted. But it is not the case. It is still a small, very noisy majority supported by the ruling establishment that this represented not all Hindus.
We'll have to leave it there, but thanks so much for that context, Harsh Mandar.